From a tech icon who was fired from his own company to a rock and roll star who was told he couldn't sing. These are extraordinary stories of some of history's most legendary figures who stared failure in the face before achieving unimaginable success. Lights, camera, action. Our first star is none other than the legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg. Can you believe that the man behind classics like E.T. and Jurassic Park was rejected not once, not twice, but 3 times from the University of Cinematic Arts? That's right, Spielberg didn't let rejection dim his directorial dreams. Instead, he picked up his camera, continued honing his craft, and eventually became one of the most celebrated directors in Hollywood history. Besides that, this director also struggled with dyslexia, making it harder for him to cope with school. To date, he has won 12 Emmys, 3 Oscars, 9 Golden Globes, and his cinematic output has grossed more than $16 billion. He's one of the most successful directors of today's time. Moving on to Albert Einstein. Do you want to achieve success? Let the genius behind the theory of relativity inspire you. His name is synonymous with intelligence, yet it wasn't always that way for Albert Einstein. It's said that he didn't start speaking until he was 4, reading until he was 7, and was thought to be mentally handicapped. Did you know that Einstein struggled in school and faced rejection when applying to universities? Yet, he didn't let setbacks define him. Instead, he embraced failure as a stepping stone to success. So the next time you feel like you're lost, just remember that even Einstein had his fair share of academic adventures and misadventures. It's all part of the equation for success. Let's talk about Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Now, imagine a world without iPhones, iPads, or MacBooks. But did you know that before Steve Jobs became a tech icon, he faced rejection and failure? In 1985, he was actually fired from the very company he co-founded, Apple. However, he didn't let that setback define him. Instead, he went on to create Pixar. Later, he returned to Apple and led it to become one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. Can you imagine your childhood without Disney? While Walt Disney is remembered for his many successes like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Disneyland, he also saw his share of failures. He was once fired from a newspaper for a lack of creativity. Can you believe it? And when he started his first animation company, it went bankrupt, had a mental breakdown, and the loss of control over his creation, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. But did he let that stop him? Absolutely not. Walt Disney turned adversity into magic, creating a legacy that continues to enchant generations around the world. Sadly, Walt Disney died in 1966 and never got to see the opening of the mammoth Walt Disney World in Florida. Now let's flip the switch and shine a light on Thomas Edison, the brilliant inventor. Did you know that Edison failed over 1,000 times before finally inventing the light bulb? Imagine if he had given up after just a few tries. We'd all be sitting here in the dark. Edison's resilience and determination teach us that failure is often the pathway to groundbreaking success. Vincent Van Gogh, the legendary painter known for his breathtaking masterpieces. But did you know that during his lifetime, he struggled to find success and battled mental health issues? A Van Gogh painting will cost you upwards of $100 million nowadays. But in his lifetime, Vincent sold only one painting, The Red Vineyard. The sale came not long before his death. Despite the setbacks, he continued to create stunning art that would later be celebrated around the world. Now let's rock and roll into the life of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Before he became a cultural icon, Elvis faced rejection and criticism. In his early days, he was told he couldn't sing and should go back to driving trucks. After his very first performance, his manager, Jimmy Denny, said, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You out to go back to driving a truck." But Elvis persisted, and with his unique style and charisma, he went on to become one of the best-selling solo artists in the history of music. Talk about turning rejection into a hunka success. Next up, let's lace up our sneakers and step onto the basketball court with none other than Michael Jordan. Often hailed as the greatest basketball player of all time, Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team on his first try. His coach might have made a huge mistake in cutting Michael Jordan from his high school basketball team. Rather than giving up, he used that failure as fuel to become the legend we know today. 6 NBA championships, 5 MVP awards, and a legacy that continues to inspire athletes worldwide. Jordan even said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Next up, let's talk about the man behind the wheels, Henry Ford. The founder of the Ford Motor Company didn't have an easy road to success. Ford's first two automotive companies failed miserably before he launched the Model T in 1908. He changed the automotive industry forever with the introduction of the assembly line and affordable cars. So the next time you see a car zooming down the street, remember it's all thanks to Ford's resilience and determination. Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda Motor, went bankrupt and faced failures in business before founding Honda Motor. At one point, Honda was even told he didn't have an aptitude for engineering. But did he let that stop him? Absolutely not. Honda persisted, creating motorcycles and eventually becoming a global automotive powerhouse. Let's switch gears to the world of science with Charles Darwin, the father of the theory of evolution. Darwin faced criticism and skepticism from the scientific community when he first presented his groundbreaking ideas. However, he persevered, and his work laid the foundation for our understanding of the diversity of life on Earth. Evolution, my friends, is a process of persistence. Ever watched the iconic movie Rocky? Well, Sylvester Stallone, the man behind the Italian Stallion, faced his own share of struggles. Unable to pay rent or afford food, his lowest point came when he tried to sell his dog at the liquor store to any stranger. He didn't have money to feed the dog anymore. He sold it at $25. He says he walked away crying. 2 weeks later, he saw a boxing match, and that match gave him the inspiration to write the script for the famous movie, Rocky. The rest is history. The movie won Best Picture, Best Directing, and Best Film Editing at the prestigious Oscar Awards. He was even nominated for Best Actor. The movie Rocky was even inducted into the American National Film Registry as one of the greatest movies ever. Talk about a knockout comeback. And do you know the first thing he bought with the money from the movie? The dog he sold. Yes, Stallone loved his dog so much that he stood at the liquor store for 3 days waiting for the man he sold his dog to. And on the third day, he saw the man coming with the dog. And believe it or not, Stallone had to pay $15,000 for the same dog he sold at $25. Do you know who's the man behind Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC? Colonel Harland Sanders. Did you know that Sanders faced over 1,000 rejections before finding a restaurant willing to partner with him? He was in his 60s when KFC finally took off, proving that it's never too late to achieve your dreams and create a global fried chicken empire. Oprah Winfrey is recognized as the Queen of Talk. Before gracing our screens and becoming a media mogul, Oprah faced a rocky start in her career. She was fired from her first television job because they thought she was unfit for TV. Can you believe it? Oprah didn't let that setback silence her. Instead, she used it as fuel to become one of the most influential and beloved figures in the world. In 2013, Oprah reflected on her experiences during a Harvard commencement speech. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction. Lincoln's failures were broad and numerous. He achieved the unique feat of leaving for a war a captain and returning a private, the lowest military rank. He also failed in business and lost several elections before becoming the 16th president of the United States and leading the nation through the Civil War. Today, he is regarded as one of the greatest USA presidents of all time. Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about one of America's most influential founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. As editor of Poor Richard's Almanac, founder of the University of Pennsylvania, inventor of the lightning rod, and contributor to the Declaration of Independence, it would be difficult to argue against his important role in American history. However, Franklin's journey was far from smooth. Franklin was forced to quit his formal education at age 10 when his parents could no longer afford schooling. Faced with this setback, Franklin took ownership of his own education. He never stopped learning and became a key figure in shaping the United States of America. Talk about turning Poor Richard into a rich legacy. These stories teach us that failure is not the end, but a necessary part of the journey to success. So, the next time you face a challenge, remember these legends and keep pushing forward. Use the failure as fuel to reach the success. Don't be afraid to fail, because in every failure there's a hidden opportunity for greatness. Fail often, fail fast, and learn from your mistakes. The more times you fail, the closer you're getting to success. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Stay inspired, stay curious, and until next time, keep reaching for the stars.